Demba Jum Den Den the Jinsha Ban Dachon Ban Yang Da Ban Zobe Ribada Shazon Demban Devarisha Ban Jiden Jemba Jivon Kalo Juva Lana Ban Lada Melan Jetem Sanje Jum Den Den Benja Shaja Tuba Chazelon Judo Jazo Jevo Demba Jum Den Den the Jinsha Dachon Ban Yang Da Ban Zobe Sanje Ribada Shazon Devarisha Ban Jiden Jemba Jivon Dubia Kalo Juva Lana Tadam Mena Jedamba Sanje Jumden de Beja Shaja Tuba Lancha Zeno Chudo Yazushi Demba Jumden de Jinshaba Dajuba Yanda Zobe Sanje Riba Shazon Demba Devarisha Jiden Jamba Jivon de Baloju Lana Meva Lada Mena Jedamba Sanje Jumden de Beja Shaja Tuba Lancha Zeno Chudo Yazushi Kanze Ganyan Zobo Jadamze Sajan Dena Bamba Mane Jeden de la Georgia Zonga de Zekeba Jamaja Namda Gunga Jodo Susawa Yeshi Jazo Sejo Nambo Chaban Jeden Sumna Lame Bahangombo Chonye Jamaja Senjo Demba Chimenda Veshe Serdon Dawa Jamaja Yure Jada Siva Sumaje Nyame Jenjen Jamaja Gombo Tuji Chedemba Tamje Jembe Demba Sonam Yende Jenshala Cha Zeno Taben Deja Chewa Giving it. Jedo Tenam Shojo was Shinjuricho Lacha, Tender Driven. Lavata La Rabdo Ne, Shingatamba Yenden, Gideon Yacha. The Wachi and Meshash Gawa Person Soba Ranges and the Yoga. Tene Sanje Temba Yukama Rabi Mamma, Yonaseva Sugar. Melon Loda Jedabon decision of the Terta Sonum Dias of Jessica. Quantum ne Junior Dadu than Gatan Nasa Chival Sibes or Lando one Jovan Ratio.
To the teacher,
The blessed one,
full
for destroyer,
completely perfected, fully awakened being, perfect in knowledge and good conduct, so that I know all the world, supreme guide of beings to be tamed, teacher of gods and humans, to you the completely and fully awakened one, the blessed one, the glorious conqueror, the subduer from the Shakya clan, I prostrate, make offerings, and go for refuge. To the teacher, the blessed one, the one beyond, the full destroyer, completely perfected, fully awakened being, perfect in knowledge and good conduct, Sugata, knower of the world, supreme guide of beings to be tamed, teacher of gods and humans, to you the completely and fully awakened one, blessed one, the glorious conqueror, the subduer from the Shakya clan, I prostrate, make offerings, and go for refuge. To the teacher, the blessed one, the one gone beyond, the full destroyer, the completely perfected, fully awakened being, perfect in knowledge and good conduct, Sugata, knower of the world, supreme guide of beings to be tamed, teacher of gods and humans, to you the completely and fully awakened one, the blessed one, the glorious conqueror, the subduer from the Shakya clan, I prostrate, make offerings, and go for refuge. When I was 3 among humans, you appointed this earth. You placed out 7 strides and said, I am supreme in this world. To you who are wise then, I prostrate. The pure body is formed supremely pure. Wisdom of motion like golden mountain. Fame that blazes in the 3 worlds. Window of the best, to you I prostrate. With supreme signs, face like spotless moon. Color like gold, to you I prostrate. You are immaculate, the 3 worlds are not. Incomparably wise one, to you I prostrate. The Savior having great compassion, the teacher having all understanding, the fruit of merit with qualities of a vast ocean. To you, the one bound to thusness, I prostrate. The purity which makes one free from attachment, the virtue which frees one from the lower elements, the one path, the sublime pure reality. To that Dharma which pacifies, I prostrate. Those who are liberated, who also show the path to liberation, the holy field qualified with realizations, who are devoted to the moral precepts. To you, the sublime community intending virtue, I prostrate. Do not commit any non-virtuous actions, perform only perfect virtuous actions. Subdue your mind thoroughly. This is the teaching of the Buddha. A star, mirage, a flame of lamp, an illusion, a drop of dew or bubble, a dream, a flash of lightning, a cloud. see conditioned things as such. Through these merits may sentient beings attain the rank of all seeing, subdue the four falls, and be delivered from the ocean of suffering, of aging, sickness, and death.
Sanje jono zoje jono la chanju ba do da de jasu. Dagin jeso jebe sonam je rola benje sanje jobe. Sanje chodan soje chona la chanju ba do da de jasu. Dagin jeso jebe sonam je rola benje sanje jobe. Sanje jodan soje chona la chanju ba do da de jasu. Dagin jeso jebe sonam je rola benje sanje jobe. Sanje chodan soje chona la chanju ba do da de jasu. Dagin jeso jebe sonam je rola benje sanje jobe.
I go for refuge until I am attained to the Buddha, the Dharma, and the Sangha. Through the merit I created by practicing giving and the other perfections, may I quickly attain the state of Buddha for the benefit of all sentient beings. I go for refuge until I am enlightened to the Buddha, the Dharma, and the Sangha. Through the merit I created by practicing giving and the other perfections, may I quickly attain the state of Buddha for the benefit of all sentient beings. I go for refuge until I am enlightened to the Buddha, the Dharma, and the Sangha. Through the merit I created by practicing giving and the other perfections, may I quickly attain the state of Buddha for the benefit of all sentient beings.
Tamje jema la cha jema de da sanje jumden de jin she ban da ju. Yanda ban zo be sanje re ba da sha zon de man de wa she ban ji de jema ji won de ka lo ju ba na nam. Ha da me na je de ba sanje jumden de so en de jin she ba de so nam da ge ju de. Ge we za wa na man ju me ze ba su be ra do je ba so nam je de ra nam ji she be je sam ba je de. Chen nam je me do je ba ju ye ren ba de ba to nam me de ba me de be me ba na ngom ra ga. Sheraba Sige Million Botona Zewa Meba Simya Tamji, Temba, Chanjus, Yap. Pabia Kazana, Jevan Yang, and they were 20 on Jovan, Shepodom, Boba Sanjay. So Namrata Vanyanya Bagujeta, Veshomi, Gokusomba Meba, Devata, so that they never so Mevata Damadeva Dungena, number 2 go Pumbota, come on the million by Gajan, the one should be. Yonzon don't want the land number two, but Sibale to go to Link, Yishi Yonzon, Devata Majumba. Tadre Juba Sanjay Jim then the Yishila Neaba, Yangan, Deva, Mineva, Yanda Bandi Jataman. Simjatam Jela Siva Sala Shuba, they ended on the Sanjay Jim then the which is the Yanda. Tabation, the Toma gave a brother gave a Tama gave a Hanson was invisible, Deva Yonzon, Yonzu Chang. Yanda Vato one never what you shall never did on the 10 year what Kevan Sozo and Jim then the general was between the one and the water, Yavachuman Sobe Chanjo to Drovachim, Human Mission devoted. Temba Yuba Jubacheva war, Tewachim Begit in the Levership, Ribashim, Tambushu, Tumbashu. Timajeve was the Juba Chaja, was the Juba, Sona Jibegi, Sing. Yes, Juan Chumajimena Zujuba, Pundo, Jimena Zujuba, Chimbo. Kangiya tu zenye zona dawa tanje pambeja tambe chene denze bo kodam dem chase lo dem chase. Okay, today we have guests, right? So before I start reading the text, maybe I'll show Larry. We have guests here, Larry. Don't interrupt us. Okay.
I have a lease on YouTube.
Oh, okay. So here we are reading Chandrakirti's root text, the commentary by Lama Tsongkapha. It's about the intent to the Buddha's, intent of the Buddha or the Buddha's thought. So there's discussions between within the Buddhist school thoughts and non-Buddhist school's thoughts, and there's some arguments between, particularly here, one of the Buddhist school thoughts called Chittamatra, or the mind-only school, and then the Prasanghika schools, the consequentialist schools. So it's talking about from the beginning, Chandrakirti's praises to the before praising to the Buddha and the Arhats, he prays to the compassion. So compassion is the seed of the Buddhahood. Compassions that fertilize, that nourishes all the realizations and the knowledges, and compassion also at the result, like ripening fruit. So compassion is all about from the beginning, in the middle, at the end. So this pretty much explains the Mahayanas, the Bodhisattva's way of the journey or the path that leads to enlightenment. So I heard you have a question about Theravadan and the Mahayanas. You're right. So I think that's the philosophical point of view. There's a difference. Philosophical point of views. So the both there's a one particular line in the sutra, the statement. When they talk about the Arhat, nirvanas, it's like an exhaustion of the lamp through exhausting the wick and the butters. So they interpreted that in the Theravada traditions. They interpret that is once you attain the nirvana, and then they call non-residue nirvana, residue nirvana and non-residue nirvanas. Nirvana, when you are arhat, but you still having a human body. You have the aggregates. And non-residue nirvana means that arhat beings once they pass away, and that story is the end. There's no continuations, right? There's no continuum with that person, because they interpret exhaustion of the lamp through the exhausting the wick and the butter. So there's the mind and the body has discontinued. It's never coming back to reborn. So in Mayana, they interpret that. So exhaustion of the lamp means, there's no rebirth, through the force of the karma and afflictions, because you have ended the karma and the afflictive emotions. So the butter, the wick is like karma and afflictive emotions. By ending that, eliminating that, and ends the rebirth through the force of karma and afflictions. So that does not mean once the arhat being passed away, there is no continue. There is continue. The consciousness is no antidote to destroy it. There is no antidote for the afflictive emotions, antidote for the anger, antidote for attachment, antidote for the ignorance, but there's no antidote of the existing of the consciousness. The tree, you can cut it, seed, you can burn it, right, to discontinue, but the what we call, sometimes we use the term clear words or clarity of the mind. So that remains continuous. So this is why in the Theravadan traditions, mostly depicted the Buddha in nirvana, lying down. So which means that is the final achievement, and that's the end. So that only the answer you can find once you attain it, nirvana. It is going to be end or not. So right now, from our point of view, there's no way we can really convince which answer will be the true. Right. So that is the one of the philosophical point of view, the difference. The second is so within the Buddhist school of thought, the Vaibhashika school and the Savatantrika schools too. So these two schools, the follower of the kind of proponents of these two schools, mainly they focus on the peace, the permanent state of peace. They're seeking for the permanent state of peace. And they have a desire to everybody, every sentient beings, to attain that peace, but their whole effort is to attain oneself, to to attain the permanent state of peace. So the whole effort is to eliminate the cause of the suffering for yourself, your own afflictive emotions, right? So that is the one of the kind of intersects the Mahayana in in the Hinayana or something like that. So the Mahayana says, everybody wants. That's the very nature of the mind, seeking for happiness. Hinayana or Mahayana or businessman or the beggar, whoever, even the thief, right? They always seek for happiness. So now Mahayana says seeking happiness for oneself is not really gives you, it can help you to overcome the cause and condition which give rise the suffering through negative emotions, but it never gives you the deep satisfaction and joy. The satisfaction and joy comes from the compassion, concerning for others and trying to dispel the suffering of others, and and always desire to lead the sentient beings to the the Dharma terms with the enlightenment or the Buddhahood. So from the 2 point of views, there's a traditions, the difference. Right? So the teacher is the same, Buddha. So like when you are in the class, the teacher explains something, and you have another interpretations. Another student has a different interpretations. So they follow what teacher says. And teacher says, yes, that's all I meant. And your understanding also what I thought. So, yeah. So any other questions you have?
Well, thanks for having us. I'm sorry if we interrupt your regular classes. So we're doing a class on politics in Buddhism. But we're
let's do the politics then.
Yeah, and that's what I studied. I studied the politics, but we're starting with the different forms and approaches to Buddhism and Buddhist history, Buddhist cultures. So that's kind of how we're starting the class before we get into the politics. So we're all from different countries and different backgrounds.
Oh, okay.
And I brought my son.
So thank you, student.
So I also have, I always think that Buddhist culture and the Buddhist is a 2 different things. So the Buddhist means the way you are thinking. The culture that you see, the way I do, right? How I behave. So what tradition I shows to the other people. That is culture. Culture is for the I. The Buddhist is, Buddhist Shakyamuni teachings is all about that. The knowledge, understanding. So with this understanding, you have another behave, and other understandings, another behave. So the culture is not a religion. I don't really think the culture is the religion. Culture is just behave. Yeah. So from there, politics comes. These cultures are different from you. So
I don't know if it's appropriate. One of the questions I have is in trying to understand myself and teach students the different approaches, different schools, different sects, and even in Tibetan Buddhism, some of the different schools. Is there danger of dividing it more than it should be? Is there a danger of kind of reifying or creating greater differences? Or should we see it as one, or is it healthier to see it as many?
That depends, So if you have one big dough and how many pieces you cut, make the bread, all all tasty, So dividing is not a problem. Now, emotionally, and fixated on one part and generates hatred towards others. So that is not a religion. That is that's a delusional. So then there is the problem. Even the two person with one family, within one family. So if the parents shows more attached to the one children and shows ignore on others, there's the divisions. So that's it's not a politics, it's the ticks. So otherwise the divisions is not a problem. Divisions, most of the time I look at in the Tibetan Buddhist tradition, the divisions of that is, you have different lineages. I follow this master, I follow this masters. And then, when it comes to, in the physical level, they build the temple, right? The temple, and that temple is divided by the kitchen. It's all about the kitchen. If there's a fighting, there's a fighting about the money or, about the sponsors or something like that. So that's not really a religion thing. So we have a different lineages, different gurus that you follow, and you have different traditions. And particularly some terminologies, some traditions they use these terminologies, some they don't use it. So the essence is the same. It's like it, as I mentioned, many braids from one dough, big pieces. Yeah, it's good, and it's one point. It's good to have many divisions. So this is how it's spread, and discriminating, having bias on traditions. So that is the big problems. So everything has a price. So yeah. Yes. Do you have any questions?
Could you tell us some of the basics of like the approach of the Land of Enlightened Wisdom about if I could say like the form or the school of Buddhism and the sort of like the very brief history of both it and then here, or is that, I don't know if that'll take you off track from your regular teaching.
So this house is the historic house. Maybe it has its history. It built 1921. Yeah. So the Land of Enlightened Wisdom to be founded in 2010. That's not my stories, and there's nothing interesting story to listen. But we focus most on study. Once in a month we do the medicine puja, the ritual, and the rest of we always focus on study, read the books and explain and discuss on that.
Geshela, what about your personal history, your parents coming to India? Interesting.
My father is a movie actor. Yeah, I born in India. In South India, Kolegaon. So I moved in Dharamsala, northern India. Joined the monastery when I was 13. So studied there for 3 years in Namgyal Monastery, and then again went back to South India to study the Buddhist philosophical. Like 15 years there, and 1 year in another monastery, studied the Tantrayana. So that's, yeah.
Do you have any questions?
Any curiosity?
What is this? I'm sorry, please go.
So, do you is this place any connection with the like Tibet Buddhist organization or something? Like, do you do people in this place communicate with the people in Tibet?
People, just one person. Me, I have a family relation in Tibet.
So, okay, yeah.
Yeah.
And can you tell us, one thing we've been learning about is how different groups in Buddhism have different approaches to nuns, to bhikkhuni, right? And some, like in Theravada, the lineages died out. So can you teach us a bit about the status of nuns in Tibetan Buddhism?
Yeah, like the monks and nuns, I'm not sure what's the English word for that. Fully bhikshu, fully audience, and then there's a bhikshuni, and the bhikshuni is a little bit higher status. For the bhikshu, we have 253 vows, and the bhikshuni has 360 vows. So nuns, bhikshuni has more vows. And then before that, where's the word for that? I don't know. There's a 37 vows, younger monks to novice, yeah. And there was none called Navasni. So yeah, there's 37 vows they follow, and then the lay vows, upasika, upasikani, So it's kind of like in front of abbots, the guru, the real human being. We have to take the promise, take the pledge. From now on, until I die, I follow this kind of, these vows. So then, and there must be the 5 people, the witness, and from one, lamas. So in the presence of 5 people, so we have at least, and then if there is a more possible, in the 12 monks, the senior monks has to be there. So yeah, I think the vows is the Theravadan and the Tibetan tradition is the same as monastic vows and the Vinaya. We follow exactly the same sutras, Theravadan and Theravadan or the Tibetan. The same sutra and the same sutra that we recite while we are doing the every 15 of the months we do the confessions. So so same sutra that we read. I heard there's a counting the numbers like we have 253 for the bhikshu. Maybe they have 254 or something additional. And then we kind of this some of the I think the last 2-3 years ago in Varanasi, they discussed on the vows and exactly the same. Because they just divided from 1 to divide into 2. So that's why. Otherwise, the Theravadan in Thailand, Sri Lanka, Tibetans, the monastic vows are the same. And then in India, His Holiness the Dalai Lama advised the nuns to study. In Tibet, there is no traditions of monks who study about, nuns that study about the philosophical studies, and there's no Geshe. And in India, the His Holiness, pushes the nuns to study more. Now we have many Geshe from the nun. Yeah.
Good question. I was wondering if there's any challenges in passing on like the traditions and knowledge to the younger generations.
Always. So undoubtedly. Challenge is always there.
And like, what are you maybe doing to overcome those challenges, perhaps?
That depends on the individuals, how they face the, what conditions that brings challenges. So, yeah, if you're talking about the following the dharmas and challenges, is that if you see the challenges means you are on the way. If you don't see the challenges, you're just indifferent. It's, oh, I go take refuge, Buddha, Dharma, and Sangha, and recite 3 mantras, and then, or sometimes go to visit temple and come back as a normal. Challenges when you are trying to, you fight something, you're trying to improve yourself, then you find the challenges. So if you remain, passive, no challenge. Challenge is also good.
I was wondering what the Buddhist texts say about where the person goes after attaining nirvana.
Huh?
After a person attains nirvana, where does the person?
Oh, that I will call you when I. So I need your numbers. So where I go. We always say something disappears, it's gone. So we cannot just trace that. It's gone. It's gone. So seed, barley seed or any seed, you put in soil and you put waters, and then it passed by months or something, and then it disappears. Right? It died. And then it says, where it goes, here the sprout manifests. Right? Something dies, something comes from the death. So one ceased, one manifest. That is the law of cause and effect. So there is no really discontinuity. So nothing, if anything that destroyed, anything that died, anything that ceased to exist, there is the continuation of that. So someone in my past life died, so here I am. I'm born. So when I die, there's another next. So when we are children, you are young, very children, and now you are no longer that children. You're, the teenager or adult, I don't know. So that changes. Nothing dissipates. Yeah.
I had a question about what the religion talks about, like how a person can practice the religion in their day-to-day lives, and if it is different for a man and woman. Does the text talk about like how one can practice the religion in their daily lives? Are there certain sense of responsibilities or practices one needs to follow?
You mean about the person who follow?
Yeah.
The man and the woman has a difference? Is that your question?
Yeah. Do they have a difference? Like how they can be a practitioner of the religion?
Relation with?
Relation with the religion.
Oh, I don't think so. So religion is religion. I don't know the liberation, the peace, the pacification of the afflictive emotions is equally. If you try to attain the liberations through generating the wisdom to understand the realities and the interdependencies, then you are able to perceive the absence of intrinsic nature in the phenomena. So that's how that the wisdom can pacify all the afflictive emotions, the man and woman's state. Right? But if you're talking about the religions, the practice, the ritual practice, there's a certain ritual practice for the man, certain. I don't know. I don't know. But when you do the rituals, the woman has a different voice, and the man has a different voice. That we can see, right? So otherwise, there's not much. Yeah, I heard in the now when religions, if you see in the culture, and then there's a difference. Cultures. I think some means many people confuse the religion and the cultures, and they mix together. And then the cultures, in some temples it says, oh, the women are not allowed to go. Some temples says, oh, men are not allowed to go. So that's the culture. Humans just add it up in your traditions. So some say, without you come here. It's not a religion. So we don't want to, clean up. It takes hours to clean up. So it's not a religion. With shoes or without shoes. I believe you are from India?
I'm from Nepal.
Nepal, okay. Yeah. You're in India. Nepali. Oh, good. Yep.
Are all of the students from different countries? They're not from here, America?
I'm from here.
From where?
New York.
Okay.
Oh, well, that's a different country.
I'm from Japan.
Japan.
Yeah, from Japan.
I'm from Japan.
Oh, okay. India.
I'm from Canada. So
Yeah, we just started the course. We're planning actually an event in late April with a couple of scholars on contemporary issues in Tibet, and so we realized we gave very last minute notice to try to come here. Field trips are kind of a
Thank you very much for
so
coming.
We're really appreciative. Are there some things you think are distinctive in Tibetan approaches to Buddhism compared to other schools?
Distinctive?
Yeah.
What?
So maybe some things about practices or various how one approaches different sutras or perhaps different deities. So what are some things that make Tibetan approaches to Buddhism unique from others perhaps?
That's a very political question.
That's the way I think.
Now I have to say that Tibetans are more unique than others.
Not more unique.
Maybe less unique. I think that the translations, Tibetan, the translators, the way they translate Sanskrit to the Tibetans, is very, very unique. So probably everybody can, when they, examine, you can understand. And the Sanskrit from the translated in Chinese, Sanskrit translated in Tibetans, you see that's the uniqueness. So when we translate back Tibetan to Sanskrit, the 80%, 90% exactly stays. So Tibetan translators, they translate everything, even the name, Chandrakirti, we call Davatapa. There's Nagarjunas, Ludus. So everything translated. And sometimes the translations, the Buddha in Tibetan Sangye, I think there's more, it's more unique than the Buddha means you have to explain what the Buddha means. Buddha said, so awaken, and awaken from what? And when were you sleeping? So they're kind of awaken. So there's not much, the word itself, not really explaining the whole meaning. So the Tibetan translate sangye, 2 syllables together. Sang means purified and expanded the knowledge. So that is the name of the Buddha. So you see, this is the uniqueness in the translations, the term that used in the great translators in the old time. So that's very, very, very unique, I think. About the practitioners, the study students, I don't see much uniqueness. Everywhere it's the same. It depends on the individuals who have more interest, they gain more knowledge. Less interest, less knowledge.
My understanding was that there's an approach to debating that's very emphasized in Tibetan Buddhism, of having debates based on like
that's one thing. Particularly, not all the temples in Tibet have the debate. So we have a major monastery like Sera, Ganden, Jepun monasteries. So, like I think 11 years we have to complete the curriculum in monasteries. Once you finish, you have to memorize the text. You have to listen the commentaries, and then the morning we go like around 6:30 or 7. We start debate until 11 in the morning, and then after then at the 11 we have lunch, and right after that when we take classes from the different class teachers. So then we go back and study and memorize and read all the commentaries, and then the evening and 7:30 until sometime 12 and 1 o'clock at night we debate. So that is very, very This is not all the monasteries have this kind of studies. Sera, Dibung, Ganden, and the Dashilumbus. And now in India, so many monasteries they start to adapt this kind of traditions and debatings. In old times, when the historian of the Dalai Lama first he started to push the monastery study, many senior monks they against. They could not really verbally say that this is we never do that before. And he's always forced to do the study. Now, during maybe started to 1970s. So all the monasteries they study now. Before, in Tibet, not much study, just memorize the text, do the rituals, use the drums, the instruments. That's the most of the temples you see. So, sometimes in India they will be called Totaram. So like a parrot, they just memorized it. So that is the culture. And the culture still helps. It opens the kind of the wonders, interest. So what is there? What is saying?
Do you think that the BJP government in India poses a threat to Buddhist monasteries?
I have no hope. BJP. So these are politics. We don't really predict politics what they do. So politics is only immeasurable. It never comes in mathematical. So we ask politics to the politicians. So there's no astrologies. It works with politics. There's no mathematics works with politics. There's no, logic and reasonings in politics.
So in the beginning of our class, we read the article written by Dalai Lama, and he teaches about like the core of Buddhism and the core of democracy is close or similar. So do you see like similarity between the core of Buddhism and democratic values?
I think, yeah, and from many aspects, you can see that if your interpretation of democracy is equal right, then yes, we even Buddhist says, even the insects, the birds, they have a right to attain enlightenment. Right? So equality is, yeah. So democracy is, I don't know much about politics. Any other?
I wanted to ask if Tibetan Buddhism talks about Hinduism or coexisting with other sects of Buddhism or other religions.
Yeah, the Buddhisms, you see, historically, the growth within the Hinduism. Hindu is, as I mentioned, what I saw, I know is the Hindu is more like a culture. The culture that, gives the, how is that? Some you can say tickling to the people to wonder what is the Atma, what is the Dharma, what is the Paramatma, so what is the Bhagavan, and how he created. Is the creator is right or not? So this kind of whole the kind of curiosity, right? So that from the culture. So we're still within the Hindu culture. So we are not, the Buddhist is not really conflict with Hindu. So what I understand, the Buddhist is the essence that we find within that cultures. The cultural people do not really understood that. So many of the deities, there are so many things, the most were kind of, out of fantasies, out of, desires. There's so many things. But the fantasies, we cannot say it's wrong. It not exist. We cannot say it. The fantasies exist. Therefore, you are able to, set the goal. Fantasy is the futures, is the possibilities, right? So with that possibilities, you can create any image, but creating the image, believing that it's substantial, is the wrong perception. So culture is good, yeah.
What do you think about Hindus calling the Buddha an avatar of Vishnu?
Yeah, we say, okay. Yeah. So, or you want to call it Shiva's avatars? Yes, okay. Vishnu's avatars, okay. So there's nothing really, we have to defend that. So some people says we, he like, for example, what do you call that? Some like Dalai Lamas, right? Each family says our Dalai Lamas. So Dalai Lama is not their family, but they say this is our Dalai Lama. So that's good. It's a kind of sign of closeness. So in the American family can say, oh, our Dalai Lama. Yeah. And Tibetan says our Dalai Lama. So anything that's fixate on any idea or any traditions or lineages or the kind of sectarians is all delusion. Fixation is delusion.
Can I ask a question? One question. So we have an exam in this class, and one of the question was why bad things happen to the good people.
Why bad things happen?
Why bad things happen to the good people? One of the question is ask us what is the best answer for these questions. So how do Tibetan Buddhists answer for these questions according to the Buddhist teaching?
Why bad things happen to good people?
Yeah.
Why good people does sometimes bad things? Right? So you haven't done nothing. Why? There's no seed, no sprout. So good people does sometimes the bad things. The bad people does all the time bad things. All the time they face the consequences. Right? The good people does one time bad things. The one time they face these consequences. Bad people is always facing problems. Sometimes people see the happiness in the house, car. So so sometimes he must be very happy. He has the house, he has a car. He's wearing good clothes. So if you think that that's too far, you see, you have to go closer to that person and listen. So he always, emotionally is so much, stress, so much problems.
Do you include past lives? I mean, if good people did bad things in his or her past lives, it affects his or her present life and happen bad things.
Yeah, maybe he has done the past life or in this life some mistake, some stupid things. Good people does that. So we all said ignorance is the root. So then the emotional, the second, the minister of the ignorance is the emotional. So emotionals drives the actions. So not necessarily you have to do bad things. You don't have to be screaming. You are stupid. You're doing always wrong thing, and then you face the consequences. Yeah. Without any screaming, without any kind of showing any angers. Yeah. The bad thing is not necessarily you have to kill. So,
To what extent do you think good and bad actions are based on intent versus outcome or perception?
Good and bad?
Yeah, so if you believe that you're doing something good, even though it could harm others, is that substantively different than if you're indifferent or you mean to harm? If the outcome's the same, does the intent matter for the action?
Yes, I would say the motivations and intentions, then with that actions. So motivation is good. The intention that goes with actions is good, and then action is the virtues. Sometimes motivation is good. The intention at the time of action is not good. So then actions influenced by the intention, the time of action. So that reminds me the one time Larry told me the Western phrase, the road to hell paved with good intentions. So that is maybe some of the people in the gathering, they're planning something. Oh, we're going to help these peoples, and then they send the people to do that, and all these peoples are very harmful, very cruel. So I think that's right now. If it's good or bad, is action good? It's action is good or bad is depending upon the intention at the time of actions and what motivates you. And then also the result. If result is bad, action is bad.
On the textbook, it was saying like it's good to do something nice for others, but I have a question like something like action might be good for others, but I cannot have come up with example. But sometimes that harms ourselves, like our own self. But do you think it's still good to do something nice for others, even though we harm ourselves, or sometimes like negative things happen to me or like myself?
That kind of gives me your interpretation of the nice is sometimes you are told you have to do nice, and you annoy people. I want to help you. I want to help you. So a person says, I don't need your help. So I want. So that is that is really kind of it's not a nice. It is not nice. Keep telling how beautiful I am. Keep telling. So that's also is not really. So otherwise, the being kind to others, being compassionate to others, and a little bit concerned for others. So it's not necessary you have to be act. So always remain kind and concerned for others. You have a respect to the others. That is the kind, the beginning of the kind. If you keep that, keep that continuously, and then once you act on that, and then everybody appreciate that. So from the beginning, so you just trying to imitate the being nice. So that sometimes that's just not going to be nice. So you have to be nice means first you have to have some kind of respect to the others. And the respect means to have the respect to others. First, you have to be, you have to have enough knowledge to how do you keep yourself, be kind and nice. So if you can nice to you, if you are, if you have enough knowledge to be, control, discipline yourself, then you can show the nice to others. Yeah. Okay. So yeah.
Well, my guess is.
Well, she has one question.
Right. Back to the politics and discourse. Well, so I myself is an interim Buddhist, and I'm studying politics because I feel like politics can help more people and maybe like improve people's life, more people's life. So do you feel like your religion, this religion, should or like at least some interaction to politics so that like people's lives get improved? Do you think like I'm not saying like Buddhism should always like connect to politics, but like do you feel like politicians maybe should have kind of Buddhist way of thinking or kind of philosophy? Do you feel that way, or should be separated?
So I don't know much about the politics. When I see sometimes our parents, particularly the mothers, so she has, the very deep, sense of care about you. Sometimes there's a condition that she has showed the wrath for. She has slapped on you, right? She scolds you. So it's all about the good. So the politic also, they have a deep in their mind, if they have, motivations to benefit. And for that reason, they can fight. They can, what called lawsuits to other people. So that there's some kind of intention that, and the result is good, right? So the politics has to be more like I always see it like a Mahayana. So yet they have a greater heart, bigger heart, wider heart, and they can do anything. Sometimes nice, sometimes not nice, but all driven by the kind heart. Long run thinking, the foreseeing. So within that, they understand the result. They have this kind of always, the warm-hearted or kind of the sense of responsibility. And then between that, you can act. Sometimes not nice. Yeah. But I'm not sure the politics, the policies, and the exact definition of what is the politics, I don't know. Is there an exact definition of the politics? Sometimes everybody has their own politics. So each person have a different way of thinking, different desires, and to get that desire, they have each person a different path, different way of doing. So I'm still, and I never thought about the definition of the politics. And in Tibetan, the politics, the Tibetan word language, Siddha. Siddha means, Sipa means samsara, So, technique for, to benefit, to control. So any kind of meaning for the people is politics, Siddha. Sometimes the politics to destroy other country, sometimes the politics to, to defend the country, sometimes, politics to, to expand the, the factories, like the kind of wealth, the financial for the countries. So I'm not sure this policy is sometimes, policy is sometimes the politics leaning towards the, the corporates. So if you give me this much, I will just make this law to, to functions. So that's, I'm not, this is really politics or not. It's just a tick. So, no questions? So then I'm going to read the commentary. So anytime you can leave, anytime. Yeah. So we're on the page 262, right? Kashyapas, furthermore, the middle path, perfectly discerning the realities, does not make phenomena to be empty. Phenomena are themselves empty. This is from the Sutra. Chandrakirti cites the similar statement in that sutra in relation to signlessness, wishlessness, and the absence of conditioning, as well as to being unborn and unoriginating. So this so here the signlessness or wishlessness is all about emptiness, absence of intrinsic nature, but it's emptiness of the entity, right? Empty, for example, emptiness of sprout, emptiness of the condition of the sprout, emptiness of the, you know, the quality of giving rise to the sprout. So this is an entity, the sprout itself, and the cause of the sprout, and the result of the sprout. So that's we call, signlessness about the entity, emptiness of the sprout itself. And wishlessness means the seed that has the giving rise to the sprout. The empty of that, emptiness of that is wishlessness. Because they're seeing this, the wisdom realizing emptiness when perceived or abide in the emptiness, and there's total absence. There's no any conventional reality. There's no relativity in that. So nothing to be desired, nothing to wish, nothing this sign to label. So that's kind of, Chandrakirti cites the similar statements. So now the phenomena were to possess the nature that arise, that exists through their own intrinsic characteristic, then these phenomena would not be empty. And then Sutra's statement that phenomena are themselves empty would become incorrect. So Chandrakirti says, this is what the Buddha says, so phenomena of absence of intrinsic natures. If there is anything that inherent nature in the condition, so then, so phenomena by themselves empty is not, it is incorrect. So if the phenomena by themselves has any intrinsic quality, or intrinsic quality means the nature of the existing by nature. By nature, something happened. Like I usually use the example of hot water. The hot water is hot. Is it by nature or is it conditioned? It is made. So the hot water, the hotness is not by nature. It has to make. So therefore, the hot water is by nature, it is not hot. Right? So it's absence of intrinsic nature. So phenomena are, so the hot water is by themselves. It's not, hot by their own nature. So the Chandrakirti says, if there are any intrinsic nature in there, so the phenomena by themselves empty, it cannot be right. Since existence in its own right, by the virtue of essence, not then by virtue of its essence, is not then negated, things will have to be shown to be empty of something else. So this, of course, will contradict the sutra's statement that emptiness does not cause phenomena to become the empty. All of this shows how the middle path, examining the individual characteristic of the phenomena, reveals how all phenomena are empty of existence in their own right. So that is the existing by virtue of their own essence. This sutra also rejects the assertions of the Chittamatra school that depends on the nature is not empty of existing by virtue of their intrinsic characteristic, but is the empty in the sense of being devoid of substantial duality of the subject and object, It says in the 400 stanzas. So this whole, again, this is Chandrakirti, Chandrakirti in the Buddha Palitas rejects the, anything that exists by nature. Nothing exists by nature. Nothing exists by, inherently. No person, no man, no woman, no cause, no effect. That by nature is nothing. Right? By nature, nothing can be man. By nature, nothing can be woman. By nature, nothing can be, cause and effect. So to become something, it depends on the cause and conditions. Depends on the factors. So there is no by nature who become the potter. So potter has to be, the potter because he's making the pot. There's nothing by nature become the manager. There's nothing by nature become the president. He has to go and every whole year ask for the vote. So in Prasangika school says nothing by nature. So then the Sotantika school says, there's a 1% or the 2% must be by nature. There must be something as a click, something there is. If there's nothing, and then there's nothing to be characterized. So there's nothing to label, there's nothing to name. So things should have, 2% or 1% or 5% of the intrinsic nature. So the Prasangika school says totally reject, there's nothing, even the particle level, the things that exist by nature. So that's the kind of, the argument between a minority school and the Prasangika school. And then the non-Buddhist school says, things has to be by natures. The nature is, like trees, human beings,
Julie has a question.
What about elements? Okay. So I think elements also included nothing. So nothing by natures, So the elements, when we say the elements, and there's how many elements are there? The 4 elements. So then the 4, you said 1, 2, 3, 4. As the fingers are physically separate, do elements remain like fingers physically separate? I don't think so, right? So there is no water elements that remain, different or substantially different from the heat, and the heat remain substantially different from the wind. So there is no elements. But verbally, when we say the 4 elements, then people think, like finger, they remain physically separate. 4 elements also remain separate.
Is that kind of tie into the discussion we were talking about with the sea and how it's affected by the weather and things like that? How the sea is still affected by that. So in the same way that the elements are not completely separate in and of themselves because they are affected by each other.
Yeah, one element could not survive without others. So to survival of each element, and that depending on other elements. Now it's when with language it says depending on, it seems like they are, I'm relying on the wall, depending on the wall. So the heat and the waters, water and the wind or the motions. So they are not like, there's no physically separate. And then how do you know there's a 4? From the functions. So there's the motions, then we say, as a wind element, or there's a result of the being burning, the heat. So there's a fire element, something moisturizing, So there's the water elements. So other than the functions, there is no way you can divide the element into the 4 or 5. So if the elements are not, substantially separate, so then like the eye sense powers, nose sense power, tongue sense power also is the outcome of element. And so their object, the eye, color for the eye, sound for the ear, smell for the nose, taste for the tongues. There's also the outcome of that, sense power. Sense powers is outcome of the element. So in the reality, what we are seeing is we are seeing the object that create in the element we experience within the element. Yeah. So which means if the consumer, the agent who experience through through eye sense powers, we experience the color, sound, smell, taste. So there are the sense powers is no different from the element, and through sense power, what we experience is also no different from the element. So it rises in the contact, in contact of the inner element and outer elements. Something rises as a color, something rises as a smell, sound, and taste, and tactilities. So no object do really have any essence by themselves. It's just temporarily happening and then disappears back to the elements and rises from the elements and disappears in the elements. So this is why I say, so pretty much like, the color that we see is, not much different from the optical illusions. So this is why the Prasangika school keeps saying there's no 1% of the things can exist by nature, things can exist by their own essence. But non-Buddhist schools by nature means their natures, prakriti. So it's more, some non-Buddhist school things is more from origin. What is the origin of all things? And then this as the Bhagavan, Paramatma. So almost like a Paramatma is, waiting for your eye open. When your eye open, he said, "Oh, color here. So I give you this color." So Paramatma said, "You want to smell? You just do it. He gives smell." So that is, if that is what you mean by natures, that is, a little bit too extreme in the fantasy. So the 400 stanzas, the Aryadeva says, it's now what is not empty is seen as empty. If one harbors the thought, may nirvana be mine? So one cannot attain nirvanas through such false views, so taught the Tathagatas. Okay. So the Aryadevas, the conquerors has stated that emptiness, is not what is the empty, is seen as empty. If one harbors the thought, nirvana be mine, one cannot attain nirvana through such false views, so taught Tathagata. So if there's any intrinsic natures, and then the attainment has intrinsic natures, one who has attained has also intrinsic nature, and the arhat may see their attainment is something intrinsically different from one who has attained nirvana.
This somehow reminds me of being produced, for some reason reminds me of having produced from, what is it? From both, there were the four I can't remember if it was produced from both, from cause and, I can't remember. Something like that, but like, it immediately made me think where it's like, there is no way that it can be, oh my gosh, I can't remember the text.
You can do it.
Thank you. Because essentially, if there is any intrinsic nature or characteristic whatsoever, then everything has to have that. There can't be like, oh, well, it's, arising from self and other. It arises from self, arises from other, and then there's the third one where it's like, it arises from both self and other, and how that's just not possible because it's almost like if it arises from the idea of self and other arising contradicts in a sense.
Yeah, here they're saying that attainment, the arhat who attain nirvana, and in nirvana, the arhat themselves has intrinsic nature,
Right.
and the arhat's attainment in nirvana has intrinsic nature.
There's no way.
So there's the kind of, it's also a perfect feeding for, the attachment. So attachment, so this I have.
Yeah.
So I have this. So then it says the arhat finds the, the solid target for the emotional to grow. So the arhat sees every phenomena as a total absence of intrinsic natures. There's nothing intrinsically exists. It's like it's just it's like a space. There's my space and your space. So arhat has no any objectivities that can their emotion could land on. So the Prasangika, the Prasangika school, the argument toward the Mahayana school says, if you see any intrinsic in the intrinsic quality in the phenomena, particularly the nirvana, then there must be arhat. Sometimes may get really arrogant, so very proud. I have this, you don't have it.
Geshela, does that also imply that ordinary beings would not be able to reach arhat because the arhat has an intrinsic nature? Is through that type of reasoning? Is that also what it kind of says?
I think it's the kind of hypothetically, if in nirvana has intrinsic, so then it can be anything. So nothing intrinsically exists. Nothing has intrinsic nature. So if you think that the nirvana is intrinsically exists, then the first, the one possible is nirvana, exists by itself. So this is like, there's a, so the follow, the practitioners who is seeking for the nirvana is almost like you're trying to get something on the top of the tree. You're just climbing up. There is the fruit, So it's the physically distance. So then it can be anything. If there is nirvana that is already exists somewhere, and you have to get it, you have to get it, then there must be some in the agent that maybe sell it to you. If you have enough money, you can buy nirvana. So which means here they're saying the intrinsic, nothing really intrinsically exists. From the point of view, from the wisdom that understands emptiness, it sees everything is absence, just like space. Nothing intrinsically exists. So there's no any feeling for emotions, So, according with minority schools, they believe that things should have the conventional reality should have intrinsic nature. So the Prasangika school says, in that case, the intrinsic nature is something from the objectively exists, something objectified. Anything that objectified, so far we, the sentient beings, the root problem, the root cause of the problem is ignorance. Ignorance is finding things objectified. So ignorance is seeing things objectively exist. And that objectively exists exaggerated again by anger and attachments. And then become the favorable, unfavorables, attractive and unattractives. So the Prasangika was nothing, there is no objectively nothing really exists. So fundamental wisdom as well as the presence, as the present, the meaning of the sutra cites, the Congress has stated that emptiness eliminates all metaphysical views. Yeah. I don't know why the metaphysical. It eliminates all views. So he who views emptiness as real, so this the Buddha called incurable. So, wisdom realizing emptiness, wisdom the understanding emptiness is like medicine that eliminates all the cause of the suffering. So if the wisdom itself it become problem. So then this kind of like medicine itself has the problem or some kind of defects. So then this the patients cannot be cured with this kind of medicines. So this saying, the implying to the minority school, you're understanding emptiness, the way you negate, so there, the minority schools, the only the imputational factors are not truly exist. So that much they negate their truly existence. Imputational factors. What imputes the subject they sees is truly exist. So, so then, truly existing, seeing things truly existing is from the Prasangika school. It is the ignorance. It is the misconceptions. So if you with misconceptions, if you use this to eliminate afflictive emotions, then it is impossible, incurable. I don't know.
Because when I tried to read ahead just a little bit, and these two texts, I was trying to figure out how Tsongkapha was using them, and I wasn't sure what the context was, but now I can kind of understand, especially because of your explanation of how through the Chittavatra school, how they're saying if there is any intrinsic characteristics, then nirvana has to have an intrinsic characteristics, and may nirvana be mine, that connected for me, where it's like, oh, may I attain it, may I have it. And so he's using these,
So it's kind of, Arhat says that, an Arhat, there is no the strong grip of me, I, and mine. Because there's no objective, the objective existing of me and mine. So if you see the nirvana is objectively exists, and then the Arhat, should find there's something substantial as mind. And then when there is mind, there is I am. But still, yes, the Buddha also used the language I and mine. So in the Arhat, they also use the I and minds. But for their mind, there's no solid concrete existing of me and mind. There's no intrinsic I and mind. So that, I think that's the reasons their mind, Arhats, their mind has no, so there's no space for generating any kind of, anger and attachment, any emotional fixations, not possible, because their mind is totally, very directly, always the inseparable with absence of intrinsic nature. So minority school has this kind of problems, because they truly exist, not truly exist. They're divided in the phenomenon, like the conditioned phenomena are truly exist, and like minds are truly exist. Mental projections are not truly exist. That's right. Mental projections are not truly exist. And the conceiving rabbit hole, the subject that truly exists, and the rabbit horns not truly exist. It's like that. So the untrue, unreal is only on the object side, not the subject. Subject, the consciousness, anything that is, conditioned, anything that is a condition, anything that is produced from the cosmic conditions, minority school tend to think this is the truly exists. Truly exists means something that's born from the cosmic condition. That's the truth. Yeah. Maybe in other questions. Yeah.
When you said truly exists, something is born from cosmic condition, were you saying that was, I'm sorry, the Chittamatra school?
Chittamatra school,
Okay.
yeah. Chittamatra school. Anything that born from cosmic condition must be truly exist. I think that sometimes it's feel very practical, for the ordinary mind, as our mind. And we also think when we talk about, so the ordinary people think about real and unreal is always if the it's all about the object. So object is real or not, right? So according to minority school, the lie, the verbal lying, from the verbal side is truly exist. From the meaning that, meaning from that lie is not truly exist. Meanings are not truly exist. The lies are truly exist.
The verbalizations
Verbalizations
of the lies
Yeah.
truly exist, but the meaning that you impute on that lie is not
truly exist. That's the minority school to say. Yeah. So then And then we stick against this. Or how about the ignorance? And say ignorance is truly exists, and where you ignore is not truly exists.
That seems so weird too, because then how do you? Then it's like the question to me is like when you said like the verbalization is truly exists, makes me question like, well, how are they defining like substantial, like real, truly exists? Like that, it makes me want to say like, how are you defining that?
Yeah, I think that's the ordinary people who says when you see this, it's true. I have seen it.
When you hear
Like
it.
when you hear it, that's true.
Yeah.
That there's the lie. It's true. I heard. Yeah. He truly lies. So but the meaning the meanings that does not fit in the realities. That's the minority school things. The Prasangika school says, when the lie, the meaning from the lie is not true, that proves the lie is not truly exist. So in a minority school, in a dream, all the objects that you are dreaming are untrue. The dreams, the consciousness is truly exist. Yeah. But from the eye, there was this, it's almost like incurable disease that you have now. So your illness is incurable because you believe you hold the ignorance, the anger, attachments, all are truly exist. They will say, yes, they all truly exist. Or what you attach, the object that you attach by attachment is not truly exist. Object that you are angry with, right, is not truly exist because it's all exaggerations or imputations. And why the anger is truly exists? Yes, anger. If anger is not truly exists, when you get angry, why your chest become bigger? So when you get angry, your chest
Upset.
pops, expands. Yeah. So if it don't truly exist, how it makes the chest bigger? So
So they almost have they don't even discuss convention. Like Chitamacha doesn't, because Sangika explains that it is real, that anger exists conventionally.
Yeah, so they don't really have they haven't really profoundly understand the dependent arising. So what's true and unread and truly existing, not truly existing, is so for them it is like why the mental projects not truly exist. So the very, I think the reason behind that is mental projections. Like for example, why you are so you become the name of logos. So you said you being basis for naming logos. So the minority school, that is mental projections. You can be Tom, you can be Jerry. So you can be Jerry. Why? So you have to become the logos. So the becoming the basis of name is all mental projections. So like so there's many because there's many name about moons, and there's sometimes you say Ribonchens. In the Hindi and Tibetan they use it. Ribonchen means one with rabbit. One with rabbit. So this is one of the name of the moon. Sisichens, the cooling things. So that is the name of the moon. And the moon, right? So there's so becoming basis of name is all, about the mental conceptually creations. So that is the mental projections. And why this becoming basis of name is not truly exist. So not truly exists. Now the question, if you argue with the mind of the school, so why him being basis of the name of Logan is not truly exist? Why the Logan himself truly exist? So when we argue with mind of the school, when we, so we say, do you mean that the person becoming name of the Logan is not truly exist because him being object of the thought, object of thought. So imagined by the thought. So conceived by the thought is not truly exist. So you can imagine, so imaginations, Soka school also believe that so imaginations are not truly exist. So imagination of car, imagination of trees are not truly exist. Soka school says if imaginations truly exist, and truly exists as it appears, it has to be true. So the imagining car, the imagination car is the car, and you don't have to buy the car. You can imagine it anyway when you need the car, right? So Soka school means that is the meaning. The imagination of cars not truly exist. If that truly exists as imagined, it has to be true. So the now same question to the mind of the school: what you have any reason to say, the mental projections are not truly exist? Do you mean that mental objects, mental projections are not true as it projected? Right? So as it projected, so becoming basis of name of the Logan is not truly exist because that the very projections, very kind of, the creation that is not the Logan, therefore is not truly exist. If that is the minority school thinking, and the minority school not much different from the Sotantic school. Sotantic school also said becoming name or kind of direct object of the thought or imaginations are not truly exist. So what is the kind of, the unique, what is this, the subtlety in the minority school than the Sotantic school?
What does the minority school says about that question?
So minority schools, let's have a child. So minority school says, so our way is saying, for example, this table becoming basis of name is not truly exist, means by the nature of the table, it is not the kind of not become the basis of name. Because so there's a tricky thing, as the minority school says, because the cause and the conditions for the table only produce the table, not produce name table. The carpenter made the table, carpenter not make the name of the table. You see? So when the parent gives the birth to the baby, that parent is not going to, the mother womb is not giving birth to the name of the baby. So they think this is more settled than the Sotantic school. So which means becoming the name, basis of name, is not caused by any condition. There is no cause and condition to produce that.
Yeah, I was gonna say it almost feels like it has this like spontaneous, like the name appears. It just is, and that's why it's real, because it's not.
So the baby can be in a name after the birth, right? After the birth. So the right before the naming, that's the basis for naming. Right before you have named the baby, that very time is the becoming basis of name. So this is kind of, the minority school thinks this is very profound, very subtle. So it also gives you the kind of understanding that everything that you see and you touch is suitable for name anything. So table is the basis of name Tom, a Logan. Right. So table is the basis of name of elephant. Is mental projections. Table is to become basis of name of the table is also mental projection. So now question is, and there is you have reasons why you're not calling it elephant, why you have to call it table. You cannot find any reason from the table side. This is how we say it. We call the table, we don't call it elephant. We call elephant to that animal. So this is only reason. That Manu says that it's all created by the mind. So that is not truly exists. If there's true nature in there, and this table has to be called all the time as the table. So if someone who don't speak English language, you bring this to that person, this person has to say, even don't know the language in English, that it's table. So when you bring the potato, so who do not know the potato, if you show the potato, they have to say it's a potato. So they don't say it, right? And alu, it's alu, And in Chinese is the different name, So that is the minority school said. That's the becoming based on name is not truly exists. So the Sodantic school is not really politics. That's very true. So becoming name, Sodantic school says becoming basis of name, becoming image of the thought. Two. So image of the thought is not truly exist. Becoming basis of name is truly exist. Sodantic schools. The cause and the condition which produce the table and then also produce becoming basis of the name of the table. So the very cause and the condition that produce the table not going to give, you're not going to produce table is name of basis, the basis of name of elephant.
My Dong school. So if carpenter makes a table, the carpenter does not make the name table. They're saying there's something there, but it's just not named.
So that's very uncertain. That is all uncertain. Because this cause and the condition is not deciding. From the cause and the condition, the table is not deciding the name of the table. Right. So this table, the cause and the condition, although it produced the table, but it can be called anything. So that uncertainty, that is, unconditioned, unmade, not fixed yet. So that is called, the minority school says, that is the mental projection. It's a creation. So the Sodantic school, so becoming image is not truly exists. Becoming basis for the name has to be truly exist. Otherwise, you may call fire as a water, water as a fire. So Socratic school, minor school, they think this is their best reason. So the get cholwa means then everything gone mixed, everything's remain, So use the fire as a fire, wind as a wind, water as water, earth as earth. And the Socratic school says that is also done by the cosmic condition. So minor school, no, that's not done by cosmic conditions. You can name anything. So it is the fire, you can call it another thing. So maybe, at the end, they have to fight physically. So the Prasankhya schools, nothing by nature is all conditions, all dependent, relatively, like east and west is not the cause of the conditions. East is not the cause of the west. West is not the cause of the east, but relatively, east because of the west, west because of the east, south, and that side, this side is relatively exist. And the barley seed, barley sprout, tomato seed, tomato sprout is dependent arising. So things are by nature, nothing really exists. Yeah. I think this class started with the class from the beginning is the interrupt. Now all become Any other questions?
Forever, the rest of I'm alive, but that's different.
So now this gives you the the impressions that when someone who is attain nirvanas. So arhat, in the arhat's mind, there's no solid, concrete, objective in their mind. So one of the reasons why they do not develop any emotions, any fixations in the attachment. That is one of the reasons is because they don't see any objective exist. So and the question may raise to objectively exist no longer seen in their mind, in the state of arhat. So does any objective they exist, or they have abandoned the objectivities? So then this is objectivities never abandoned. Objective absence by the phenomena themselves. Phenomena do not exist by objectively. So the phenomena themselves emptiness. Yeah. So which means ordinary people generate the emotions because they project the objectivities, they project things, the intrinsic characteristic on the things. So that's why the ordinary sentient beings are, they have more emotionals and the fixations and attachments and the angers and the jealousies. So all because of this objectivity, seeing objectivity in phenomena. So negate, eliminate, abandons there's a different. Objectivity is negate, no need to abandon. So to abandon, it has to exist. You abandon something that has to exist first. Intrinsic characteristics never really exist right from the beginning. So there's no need to abandon them. Yeah. Any questions?
Ask. I don't know how to say that.
Yeah.
Well, I'm confused about my only school and what is it? The Sotantrika school. Are they? So what difference between them? They both kind of say if it's from your thought, your imagination, they are unreal. So both are saying the same thing. I kind of see my only school seems they use the conventional world reality to talk about true or not true. But I don't know about the other one, the Sangha school. What you know what my question is?
Yes, I got it.
Yeah. All right.
Swatantrika school. So I think you can say Sutra school, or a Sutra school. So this saying that, imagination of, for example, for the thirsty person, right? The imagination of the water. So imaginations of the water for the thirsty person is, Sautrantika school says, is not a water. So otherwise he is not going to be, thirst for the water. He can drink any times by imagining water. So the imagination of the water is not the water. That proves thirsty man can imagine water, he cannot drink his imaginations. So that's the Swatantrika school saying imagination. And the Mainona school comes says, yes, I agree with you. Imagination of water is not water. Imagination of the table is not table. But, the table called table, table become the name, basis for the name. Table become basis for the name of the table, not become the basis of, not becomes a basis of name. So that is also not truly exists. Not only imagination of the table is not truly exists, table is being basis of name is also not truly exists. So Mainona school agree with Sotantrika school saying imagination is not real. Yes, I agree. And now why this the minority schools, my table being basis of means the argument is Sautrantika school thinks table, the cause and the condition to produce the table, to make the table, is also deciding this is called table. So cause and condition that produce not only the table, is also produced the name. So it's also produced the name. So, and minority school says the cause, the condition that produce the table is produce the table, not the name. Right? So Siddhantika school says if the cause and the condition which produce the table is also not deciding what to name, then so there's a kind of confusions. Sometimes people may call the fire as water because why the fire is not being called water, why the water is the water, because the cause and the condition that produce water also decided the name of that. So the minority school said no, the cause and the condition that produce the fire is not deciding this is called fire. So I think again they're trying to make the point is dualities. The minority schools. Dual means there's something as a basis to label when the consciousness sees. Oh, this is the table. This is the sweet. This is the sound. So it's something that is from their object side, something that exists to label is the dualities. Minority school thinks that. So that dual kind of dual experience is the condition for the negative emotions. So the minority school thinks our anger and attachment is something to do with the labeling, the label. Oh, that is a good person. That is good. The bad persons. We see the good person, the bad person is person by themselves become. It's become the name of that good or bad. So the minority school. That is the reasons we. There's the discriminations. There's the emotions, hatreds, and anger and attachments. So this is something to something there's some significance, the I would say the contributions, it has some kind of information, it's good information there. Yeah, it seems sometimes like the tree or the flowers. So the flowers that if there's outside someone left at the door the flowers, and you have no idea who dropped it, and then your emotion is neutral. If your friends, sisters, the mothers, the girlfriends, and you know that the flower has new imaginations, and that really attracts the emotionals. So it's not done by the fire themselves, the flower themselves. So the minority school want to say this is your anger and attachment is all driven by the dual kind of experiencing on the object and subject side. So you see every label that you are labeling on is object decided by the object themselves. So that is the minority school said that is the misconception, that is the ignorance. And in minority schools, the best understanding of ignorance is that. And then we same as questions to the Vibhashika school, Siddhantika school, Swatantrika schools. So Swatantrika school says, seeing imagination is the first cause that triggers the emotional. So you cannot say one is wrong and one is right. So you see the both, right? When you get emotional, you see both. You see also imagination of that person or imagination that thing that, yeah. So you also see that real, and that's how you get emotional. You also see kind of, attractive or unattractive or good or bad. So when you see in the object, you see that from the object itself by themselves. I say, yes, I'm good thing. I'm the bad. Like one, for example, one flowers. So the flowers you see, if someone left, one who left the flower, you know, or you're just imagining that the person you dislike, and then you look at the flowers, you just throw it away. So flower didn't do anything to you. So there's some sense, to still there's a how to say some educational.
So this is something like we are always talking about. See things as it is.
Yes, yeah.
You don't add any more flower. It's like just a flower. There's no good, bad, beauty, or ugly, or whatever. It's just a flower there.
Yeah.
So see things as it is.
Yeah. So when you start labeling it, naming it, when you start seeing the imaginations as real, and then there's the emotionals. So this whole, Sotadic school, in my own school, so dealing with this kind of label in imagination as unreal, basis of name is unreal. So they think, so by negating that, the emptying that is going to help to pacify the negative emotions, to attain the liberations. But, says, but object, if the object, the basis to label, like this is table, this is a good table, bad table, or this is a good person, a bad person, the persons, in the general, there's some kind of the objectivity there. So yeah.
Okay. So when we say see things as it is, so it is means it's existent. It exists.
It is means it is how you see.
Right, but it's real. It's there.
Yeah. You get emotions. It is the real as you see, as you imagine, as you perceive, and you see that is the real. That's you see the objectivity in the object. Yeah, the mindfulness, but the surrounding schools is some kind of true, because when the emotions, there's always, when you get, how say, when the angers, the hijacks the whole mind, then whole mind you see imagination of that person or the thing is real, And now the question is, yes, just by calming that down, does it really, have any quality of remedy or reducing anger? No. Just, by breathing, focus on the breathing meditations or watching movie or kind of seeing listening to comedies, this can be, calm that mind, the intensity of the anger. And just by standing up and move to other place, sometimes it helps. So, to the intensity of the angers, the reducing that has not much to do with, the, how say, great knowledge, the pacifying that. So the Prasangika school is almost like saying, you distract from it, or you deflects, so that you can reduce the same things. Knowing imaginations is not a real person. So knowing imagination role has no good quality or not kind of good, power, the potential to apply as an antidote for the anger. So if there is no antidote to reducing the anger, this is exactly similar like just distractions. So when you get very angry on one place, and you just stand up and watch through the windows, or go to the oceans, and you forgot that. So the Prasangika script says your antidote, the wisdom has the same, potential as the distractions in the breathings. Okay, yeah. Chanjo semjo rinpoche, ma yeba na gejuji, yeba nyamba mewa nyo kone kone pewaji. Onye dawa rinpoche, ma yeba na gejuji, yeba nyamba mewa nyo kone kone pewaji. Pama semjen tamjen dedan denjuji, nyedro tamjen tagdo tongwa. Chanjo semba kanda sunshu veta da gujo, molon chukjuji. Kare raga gobe shengozo, penda dewa manu ju. Jere sewa tenzin jazo yishebe, side bado denjuji.
May the precious Bodhi mind not yet born rise and grow. May that born have no decline but increase forever. May the precious mind realizing emptiness not yet born rise and grow. May that born have no decline but increase forever. Due to all these merits, may all other and other sentient beings have all happiness. May all lower realms be empty forever. Wherever there are Bodhisattvas, may all their prayers be accomplished immediately. In the sacred land surrounded by snow mountains, you are the source of all benefit and happiness. O powerful Chandrakirti Tenzin Gyatso, remain in this world until samsara ends.
Thank you very much.